Hey, what's up, guys? So it's Tuesday, August 25th, second day of the week. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to continue on with our decimals. So you all have been adding and subtracting. We worked on that the last couple of days. But today we're going to transition into decimal multiplication. So if you will remember last week, we did whole number multiplication just to kind of get a refresher from elementary school. So today we're going to transition to the 6th grade standard, which is multiplying with decimals. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So it's very, very similar to what you all did last week with whole numbers, except for one different step. So before I get into how to multiply decimals, this page that you see on Mr. Potts' screen is the page that you'll be working today. Now, I'm going to say this right here, it's not in your folder, okay? Now, if you're in Ms. Bridwell's or Mr. Winstead's second period, it is in your folder. So, Ms. Bridwell, if you don't care, can you tell me where it's at in honors?
It's on the 5th page back.
All right, if you're in Math 6 honors class, it is in your folder. It's the 5th page back.
Yes, sir.
It's in the 5th page, on the 5th page. If you're in Math 6, it is not in your folder. So what we'll do for Math 6 is we will kind of do like we did last week and just put the page on Canvas. Either you can download it, or if you just want to look at it and do it on a separate sheet of paper, that's fine too. So that's where this page right here will be. So what we're going to look at today is how do we multiply decimals. Now, like I said, it's the same thing as we did last week, except for one step before you get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to work 2 and 3 together, and then you're going to work, guys, we don't have to work the rest of the page, or how do we want to do that?
I'll go through 10.
All right, so after we get done, you're going to go through 10. Now, if you notice, Ms. Bridwell is not a very good scanner. So it has a lot of curve to it. Forgive her, she's trying her best, okay?
It's not very nice.
But all you have to do is complete 4 through 10 for homework after we go over 2 and 3, okay? So one's already done for us. So I'm going to go to another page so it's easier for you to see. So number 2, you should see 9.2 times 4. Now when you're multiplying decimals, you don't want to deal with decimals. I want to make both numbers, the top number and the bottom number, a whole number before I start. So this right here is the only different step from what you did last week. If you notice, the bottom number is already a whole number. Perfect. I'm not going to touch it. But the 9.2 is not a whole number. So I've got to make it a whole number. So what I like to tell my kids is, think about this right here as a ball. And you're going to kick it out of the problem. Okay? So if I come to the decimal, I want to kick it out of the problem. So to do that, I'm going to kick it one time. So if I kick it one time, that 9.2 becomes a 92. And that's what I want. I want it to be a whole number. So for organization, I like to write how many times I kicked it. So up here, I kicked it one time. Okay, so now I have a 92. So I'm going to write that over here. So I'm just rewriting the problem. You can rewrite it if you want to. If it doesn't bother you to have lines and stuff in your problem, you don't have to. So I kicked it one time. Now I said this right here is already a whole number. I don't have to kick it at all. So I kicked it 0. All right, so how many times did I kick a decimal? Well, I kicked it one time. Now that's important because however many times you kick it, that's how many numbers have to be after the decimal in your final answer. Okay? That's important. This is super, super important. So I didn't kick the other one, I'm just going to rewrite it as 4. So now I have an easy multiplication problem. I have 92 times 4. So I'll just do my multiplication like we did last week. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 9 is 36. So my answer right now is 368. Now since I'm multiplying decimals, there's one more step. So you remember we kicked it one time, right? So what I have to do is I have to kick it back in the problem. So I have to kick it one time. If you remember from last week or the week before, the decimal and a whole number is always at the end. So here's my decimal, I kick it one time. So my answer actually is 36.8. So just to recap, you have to make this right here a whole number. So I kick my decimal out however many times I need to kick it. I keep track of that because that tells me how many times I have to, how many numbers have to be after the decimal. So I see I have to have one number after the decimal, one number after the decimal. I know I've got the right answer. Okay? So we're going to do one more together. Try it here. Okay. So the next problem we're going to do is problem number 3, which is 72 hundredths times 2 tenths. Now, you should see something a little bit different in this problem. The top number, it has 2 numbers after the decimal, and now the bottom number has a decimal in it. Okay? So same process though. Take it step by step. So I'm gonna look at the top number. I want to make that a whole number. I want to make it a 72. How do I do that? Well, as I said before, think of this as a ball and you're going to kick it out of the problem. So I kick once. I still got a decimal in the problem. It's still 7.2 at that point. So I have to kick it again. You're allowed to kick that decimal as many times as you want until it makes a whole number. So I kicked that right there twice, which made that a 72. Made that a whole number. Now, in the previous problem, we didn't have to deal with the bottom number, but this time we do because I have 0.2, and I want to make it a whole number, which you should be able to see, okay, the whole number, that should be a 2. So how do I make that happen? Well, I've got to kick it one time. So if I kick that one time, that makes that a 2. Keep track of, be organized, keep track of that. So how many times did I kick a decimal? 2. I kicked it 3 times. Now that tells us in our answer, we have to have 3 numbers past the decimal or behind the decimal. So once we do that, we simply multiply. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 7 is 14. So right now my answer is 144, but we're multiplying decimals. You're not finished yet because you got to put the decimal back in. So this number right here tells me that I need to have 3 numbers past the decimal. So 1, 2, 3. So actually my decimal goes right there, right in front of the 1, because that means it gives me 1, 2, 3 numbers past. So my answer actually is 0.144. So that's how you multiply decimals. So it's just a couple more steps than what you're normally used to. We have to kick the decimal out how many times we need to. You can kick it as much as you want to make it a whole number. And at the very end, you just got to put it back in however many times you kicked it out. Okay? So what we want you to do is on the paper that's on Canvas, or if you're in Math 6 Honors, whatever, on page 5 of your folder, we want you to do 4 through 10. Okay? So all those problems right there should be very similar to what I just worked. If you have any questions, please let us know. Send us an email and we'll get back to you and try to help you. Put your answers on the Google form and we will have another video ready for you tomorrow. Hope you all have a great day and we'll talk to you tomorrow.